de Mapão.
Court is in session with Ryan in Sacktown on If You Don't Like That. Now, Ryan in Sacktown.
Oh, must be Ryno.
Holy moly de Mapão.
Court is in session with Ryan in Sacktown on If You Don't Like That. Now, Ryan in Sacktown.
Oh, must be Ryno.
Don't act like you're not impressed.
Good afternoon. Back to where it all started here on If You Don't Like That, the King's Court. So happy to be with you today. Ryno in Sacktown. For those that have been here before, you know the deal. We have some fun. For those that might be new, welcome. Hope you enjoy this community that we built over a year of live shows. And don't let the title fool you. The King's Court does not mean that we only talk Kings. We talk a lot of different things around sports. We have some really good interviews once in a while. Certainly during the King season, we get into that a little bit more. But look, it's going to be a fun ride. We've got plenty going this summer. I've got a couple of announcements that I will be making throughout the show. But, you know, the elephant in the room, last night we came on at 7 o'clock, gave you a little heads up on what's going on with Grant and the Grant Napier show and our previous employer. One thing that I really want to reinforce is it's Grant's show. I'm part of it, but it's Grant's show. So my thoughts go to him first. But from there, when I think about myself, I think about the future of this industry. I think about just how much things have changed. And I thought Grant put it really, really well last night. The fact that we were trying to win the Indy 500 with a 4-cylinder engine. And that's no disrespect to our previous employer. But in this show is not going to be about that. In fact, we've got a lot of stuff. I want to check in with all of you. If you want to give the show a call, super simple. All you got to do is scan the QR code that's on the screen. We can also take your text message, or we can take your chats. We'll get into those here in a few minutes. I will put the link in the chat as well for you. So come in, have some fun. Let's get this thing going. Here's what I would say, just to finish my thought on that. When it comes to me, couple things. What I do in life, my identity is not in what I do. My identity is in something much bigger. And any day that you're above ground is a good day. So look, Grant and I are pumped to get this thing back rolling. We will be with you on the King's Court Monday through Friday, right here, 3 o'clock every single day. And we will also make sure that if anything happens in terms of the sports world, certainly the draft lottery that's coming up. We will come on. We'll do specials for those. And then you get Grant 7 o'clock every night, 7 o'clock every single night. So thank you to everybody that's here. If you're new, welcome to the King's Court. Had a great lunch today with a
See, this guy knows basketball.
King's Court regular, Mr. Jerry Reynolds. And he is going to be joining us again on the King's Court this year. We are going to pick out the best day that works, and he will be a regular. So we will have a Jerry Reynolds day again here in the off season on the King's Court. I know a lot of you are looking forward to that. I am certainly looking forward to that. Jerry's doing great and well. So that is really cool. I've got another little announcement that we will get to as the show goes on that pertains to that. Let's get to some of you. And you know what, Tristan? Darn right. Court's back in session. Good job by you, Tristan.
Great success.
If you're new, we have some fun here. So it's not going to be buttoned up like take. In fact, you all are as much the part of the show as I am. So that's why I love getting the comments. In fact, let's put you on the screen. Tristan, a regular from back in the day. Love it. See if we can get our tech to work. Yes, we can. Made a few updates around here. So Tristan, my man, I acknowledge you. Thank you. Athena, why on earth is Grant not on right now? Athena, it's out there. I would encourage you to go watch the show from yesterday that we did at 7 o'clock. I appreciate you being here today. I figured 3 o'clock is when we usually get going. Look, my commute is a little bit shorter, so I'm all good with that. Peter in the house. What's up, Peter? Appreciate you. Look, the last year, I would say the last 8 months, really, and then the time that went in to planning the show went by like that. And yes, Napes's snap is much better than mine, but it flew by. It feels like I laid my head on the pillow and I woke up, and now we're doing the King's Court. And I am so grateful for Grant to have shared a show with Grant, to continue sharing a channel with Grant, and for the opportunities, for the experience, for the learning. And it's only going to be things that improves this show, that improves this channel. So I'm looking at this in a good light. I'm being positive about it. So we good. Ryan, I called the call. Okay, there you go. Hey, look, you know what? Radio is a tough business. Grant's going right now. I don't blame him one bit. Where's he going? Golfing right now. I don't know if he's golfing or not. You got better sources than me, Athena. What's up, T-Dog? Did you get your old soundboard? It's Taco Tuesday. You know what, Tristan? Not only is it Taco Tuesday, it's like the Taco Tuesday for us in America. Cinco de Mayo. Yeah, I think I can get that for you, Tristan. Give me a few minutes and we will get to it. I have some interesting thoughts that I would like to run by you today. And Athena, I will tell you right now, it is a topic that you are not a fan of, but I want to approach it from a different angle. And I want to also tie it in with, we've had two massive stories that to me have been the biggest stories so far, really, of the spring. And in many ways, they tie together. And so I want to get into that. And I want to talk about it in a different level. I want to have a larger conversation, not about what happened in those instances, but how those instances were handled per se. So we're going to get into that in a little bit. We can certainly talk NBA playoffs. How about Minnesota going in last night and beating the Spurs? Dorian, my man, what's up? What's up? Karma, how we doing? How are we doing today? Start over, end the stream. You dare to show up without your favorite Traeger shirt on? You know, I don't know where that Traeger shirt is at, but Peter, I would tell you that Traeger shirt is just about as comfortable of a shirt as I own. Appreciate the love lifestyle. Thank you very much. Let's see. Glad you're back. Thank you, Hunter. Appreciate it. And if I get names wrong, it's because I have reflection hitting my screen and I don't want to wear glasses. Yeah, Jerry Reynolds, we don't know if it'll be Tuesdays, but it's going to be one day a week. So, Tristan, you know Jerry's going to be coming.
See, this
for
guy
you.
knows basketball.
I didn't have a chance to, really pick his ear on his thoughts about wrestling and all the other stuff that you would hit him with. But Jerry will definitely be here. And we can't wait, really, for that as we kind of transition into the first King's Court lifestyle. Let's get into it. Let's talk about the playoffs really quick. So the Minnesota Timberwolves go in last night and beat the San Antonio Spurs. What's going on with the Timberwolves? I can't figure this team out. We'll put the stats up right here for you in a second. This is now the third year that they have advanced past the first round. Last 2 years, they have gone to the Western Conference Finals. And I'm like trying to figure these guys out. And I'm like, what is it that doesn't look appealing during the regular season? But then you get into the postseason and this team changes. Now, the one change that is different about this postseason to me is the level of physicality that they are playing with. No doubt about it. The level of physicality, which brings me to my next question. And I'm never going to put too much into one basketball game, especially when a team's coming off of a series where they've played multiple games against the same team. But there is a trend when you look at Minnesota. They went in and they bullied the Denver Nuggets, which has not really been their identity. And they go into San Antonio last night and they bully San Antonio. So is this team for real in the West? I don't know. Coming into the playoffs, I held no stock in Minnesota. And we haven't even gotten to Anthony Edwards. He hyperextends a knee, 8, 9, maybe 10 days ago? 10 days ago. And he steps in, plays, not as a decoy, plays effectively. Now, he did make some mistakes down the stretch of this one. Champagny had a wide open 3. And anybody criticizing Mitch Johnson for not taking the timeout, I disagree with you. That was the right call. That was a great look. Anthony Edwards, he said it in the post-game interview that he made some major mistakes, but it didn't come back to bite them. Now, what I want to get to with the Timberwolves is, can they do this against Victor Wembanyama for an entire season? By the way, I'm not one of them, but De'Aaron Fox is taking it nationally today for his play last night. I'm sure he'll bounce back. It's a different role that De'Aaron Fox is playing. He's playing a role where he does not need to score as much on a regular basis, and it works perfect for him. He has always been, to me, laser cut to be the 1B next to the 1. Be the number 2 guy on a team. And some nights, like we saw earlier in the playoffs against Portland, he can get it going and he carries them through. Last night was not one of those nights. Wemby, 12 blocks. Now, I do have to say, 3 of those questionable. Last time I checked, 2-minute report not out yet, but nonetheless, 12 blocks. Stupid. It's a lot of blocks. But what the Timberwolves have done against Wemby through one game and what they did against Jokic, especially Jaden McDaniels, are you kidding me? where did this guy come from defensively? He has really stepped it up. Mike Conley, very, very good point. Guy wasn't playing much during the regular season. Off the bench, ready to go. Steps in, knocks it down, huge three in that game. But what I'm getting at is what you want to do. Two things, because the NBA playoffs are always about matchups. Always, always, always about matchups. I can criticize the referees, and I will not criticize them as much as I will criticize Adam Silver in this. You can't turn the dial up in the NBA with the refereeing in terms of physicality and what you are going to let go. The difference between the regular season and the postseason. You can't take that dial of tolerance for contact and physicality that's maybe at a 3 or 4 during the regular season and jack it up to a 9, where teams are laboring many games to get to 100 points, where guys who normally get to their spots in the regular season can't get there unless they're a bigger guard, like an Anthony Edwards, like a Cade Cunningham, who you'll see play tonight, like a James Harden. Donovan Mitchell, for instance, trouble getting to spots. What I'm saying is the game is so drastically different than what it is in the regular season. Cool. I love it. I don't know about you. I think it's great basketball. And no, this is not basketball if Adam Silver had the refs turn that dial all the way to 9 or 10 for 82 games that you would see. The players would not be playing it. But what I'm saying is for the NBA, if you are one of the basketball sickos like me that likes to watch every single regular season game, that's breaking stuff down, that's looking at film, then you see the big differences in this, and it's not good for the league. If you're somebody that completely tunes out the regular season, especially because of what happened with the Kings this year, then you're loving it. You're like, holy moly, Jim Bob Bowley, this is good basketball.
Holy moly, Jim Bob Bowley.
So, with that premise, I'm going to put the change in play more on Adam Silver than the refs. The refs do need to. Here's what I'll say. And every team gets ref differently because of their style of play. Every team does. Undoubtedly, if you're a team that's constantly physical, you are harder to guard. If you are 7'4", 7'5", if you are a unicorn, 101, it's a tough guy to ref, right? I understand those things, but all that said, you need to at least bring it a little bit closer together. You need to call a consistent game, because what we're seeing at times, and I am not saying that any team, and Jaylen Brown can say whatever he wants and talk to the refs that he talks to, but Jaylen Brown getting a bad whistle was far from the top of the list of reasons that the Celtics lost that series, specifically Game 7. So now we get back in a long, drawn-out way to the Timberwolves. My question for you, because they have not, mind you, this is not the style they have played the last 2 years. Both years they have been in the Western Conference Finals. You know what's happened in both of those years? They've puttered out. They've crapped out. They didn't have enough in the tank. They barely made it through the Western Conference Finals. So now they're playing this crazy different physical style. Is this team different? Can they get through it? Because you look at the matchups on paper, they're not terrible for Minnesota, but you have players for San Antonio that certainly need to be more aggressive. So we can continue talking about that game. I want to go to the phones, though. Who's going to be the first call back? It's none other than John Finch. What's up, Finchy?
Ryan, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Doing well, man. First, I love basketball too, and I will watch every freaking game. And we got lots of time to talk about this postseason to young. What you've been able to do, though, Ryan, just yourself over the last few years with Grant, taking over, doing the podcast with him like you're doing now, and then being his producer, you've come miles, Ryan.
Thank
So
you,
you
brother.
don't worry about anything, man. You are going to be fine. You're going to do great. And this
Thank you.
podcast, I'm really glad it's back. We've had so much fun on this over the years. I was thinking of all the things I've done that we've done kind of together. We've
Yeah.
experienced an earthquake. I had a freaking limb fall on my truck, almost knocked me out. I shaved my beard off, not on King's Court, but years ago after a Portland game when the Kings finally made the playoffs. And that's not it. There's more to come, buddy. Keep it up. And hey, it's great to see everybody in the chat in there, Dorian. It's great to see you, BJ, of course, Sal, Athena, everybody, Jeff, everybody who's in there who's the same. Keep it up. And Ryan, you got my support till day's end. And Grant also.
Brother.
And listen, man, yesterday I was busy. I didn't listen to the show. To the post game show at 7, but I just got done watching it a little bit ago, and I found out what really happened and stuff. But I knew something was up because yesterday you guys weren't on the radio, and so I knew something was up. But I had to, my nose was to the grindstone, so to speak. But man, keep up the great work. Great to see everybody in here, man. And I'll let everybody else get in. And thumbs up to you. Not just push the thumbs up button, but hey, thumbs up, Ryan. You're the man.
Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you, Johnny.
Roll up those sleeves to your freaking neck.
Always rolling up his sleeves to his freaking neck. Love this guy. Good stuff, John. Got a great John Finch story, by the way. If you'll humor me for 2 minutes. So we were at Beer Fest this last year, and Grant and I are thinking, okay, it's not going to be that crazy. A lot of people, ton of people. And we were overwhelmed by the amount of people that wanted to come up and talk basketball and talk about the show. And because of that, because it was like nonstop, I wasn't checking my phone. And John Finch is like hitting me up and he's like, hey, give me a call back. I'm like outside the gates. They won't let me in. And mind you, this is an event you have to pay in advance for. So I see it like an hour later. And I'm like, oh, crap. So I tried to call Finchy. I had an extra ticket in my back pocket. And as I'm trying to call John, this man comes walking up with a wristband on, ready to go. I'm like, bro, how did you get in here without a ticket? Like, how? How did you get in here without a ticket? Apparently, because one of the side streets downtown, it was really windy that day. Felt like a wind tunnel. Well, apparently a bunch of the bracelets went flying down the street. John grabbed one, said he was with the team, got in, had a great day, rode his bike, said hello, and good stuff, John. That is a John Finch thing. Look, I will say this. So we took our vacation, which was actually really nice. Really enjoyed Pacifica. And we were preparing for the show. And about 30 minutes before the show, 30 to 45 minutes, we were called in and told that the show was canceled. So there's Sack Peas reported on it. Awful Announcing has reported on it. We did a show about it last night. If you want to go check it out. But we are back. We're ready to rock and roll. 2 feet on the ground, 10 toes. We're gonna kill this thing. Excited to be back doing the King's Court. I really am. This might be a little foreign to you, but when you start to get to know the characters around here, you get the subtle sarcasm that's within the show, and you get also just this community that's kind of like grown around the show, which has been really fun. And probably the best thing about doing this show, I would say give it a week. It's pretty cool. And Jerry, Jerry and I'll put it this way. We go unplugged on this show, which is a lot of fun because we get into things. He takes your questions. We get into more of the stuff that you don't always hear. Like, you got 10 minutes with Jerry Reynolds on the radio. You got to get this question. You got to get that question. No, we usually get about 45 minutes to an hour with Jerry Reynolds. Speaking of Jerry Reynolds and speaking of the NBA, y'all know what's coming. It's the draft lottery. It is almost here. We are Sunday? It is. And by the way, I should say this. I'm sorry if I have not said this. Thank you to everybody that's reached out. I'm sorry if I have not gotten back to you. It's been a lot of calls, a lot of text messages. So thank you. Thank you. But getting back to what I was saying, we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days away from the draft lottery. Scott Perry is going to be the on-stage representative for the Kings, and we'll figure out where they are going to pick. Now, that new lottery system that we've heard of that was reported by Sam Amick, here it is for you. It's not implemented until next year. So that is what the lottery system will be next year. This year's lottery, exactly the same. Now, remember, the Kings lost the coin flip, which was really important with the Jazz. So the coin flip does not affect the Kings' odds on the first pick overall, but it does affect their odds on falling back further than 8th in the lottery. So we will likely have full coverage of that on Sunday if you want to be with it. And that's kind of when we know. That's when we're going to start digging into who the Kings are probably going to be taking in the draft. I keep having this gut feeling, and it is just a gut feeling, but many times they end up being correct. I have this gut feeling the Kings are going to be 4th. What about you? Do you have a feeling about where they're going to be? Finchy getting some love. I love it. What's up, EMG? It's been a minute. How are you? Carmal, what's up? Canceled for what reason? It doesn't make sense. Look, I think Grant did a very good job of explaining this. The radio business is already very right now in radio, and mind you, I'm the newcomer, but you're doing more with much less. That's what you're being asked to do. And there's a lot of things that come with the territory of doing a show these days, like a simulcast, like the podcast, all that stuff, right? And so there's more aspects to it. It's very competitive. We are just happy that we have invested and you all have invested in this platform. If you don't like that, we always wanted this to be where we are. We still do the post game shows. This is where we were before the radio. There was no doubt we were coming back. So, unless somebody like asks a really good, deep question, I'm probably not going to talk much more about it because there's no reason to. We're good. King's Court, 5 days a week, 3:00. What's up, Andre? How you doing, brother? I'm nervous for the lottery. Yeah, I don't blame you, dude. I don't blame you. I just the lottery is frustrating, and there is no easy fix to it. In fact, I would tell you your best hope when it comes to fixing this imperfect system, because the system that I put up that is effective starting next year, it can be revoked. So they do have a sunset date on that system. So if they sunset it, okay, maybe you do something else. I wish you could have found a way to put some type of formula together to apply to a team's record, kind of like the BCS, where there's enough analytics, you can tell who is the worst team and who is the best team, right? Or who is a better team than the worst team. But here's your hope. It's Victor Wembanyama. The problem is not necessarily, honestly, the tanking, although it is a problem. But if you look at the tanking, a lot of it surrounds this generation. Does it not? Talk about Steve Kerr, Greg Popovich, who I greatly respect. But they were kind of the first ones out there leading the charge when it comes to rest management. And then it's turned into the thing. It's the popular thing, right? So whether, and you got to draw a line here too, because we don't know. We never know the players. We never actually know what's really going on behind the scenes in conversations that are between player and coach, player, coach, trainer. You don't know. Okay. So I don't want to put it on the players and say that they're choosing not to play. I don't know that. They could very easily be told, like Giannis Antetokounmpo, that you're not playing. We don't want to play you. And what's he do? He files a grievance through the players union. That might be the situation, but I guess what I'm getting at is look at your all-star game and what it's been since it was handed over to LeBron and some of the others. It's been garbage because they don't care. They don't try. They don't want to get hurt. So you know what your hope is? It's Victor Wembanyama. Dude's doing it different, and I respect the way that he is going about it. So I think if he's going to be one of the faces of the NBA going forward, he is important. He is as important, as anyone when it comes to stopping the tanking and getting a product where guys want to play. If Victor sets a standard, guys are going to have to be there. But we still got to deal with the lottery. You know what I think about the lottery? Hey, lottery.
You are toxic.
That's what I think about the lottery. Don't know if you're looking for extra monetization, but what about high quality merch with things like Jerryisms on them? Hey, we're open to ideas. Hit us up. You know our X handles. See, everybody's talking to each other. That's what I like. Will we be doing squares again? That's a good question. We had some fun with that with Jerry. Yeah, we can probably do some of those. Are we going to have another meetup? We probably will, but we're gonna get this rolling right now. Yeah, Nathan, you are not wrong. Look, no hard feelings here. We're here. We're ready to rock. Better for it. Let's go. Appreciate the concern and the love, though. So if you want to call the show, is the Friday wrestling segment coming back? I don't know. Adam's kind of become a big deal. I don't know if this show can afford Adam. I'll have to check in with Adam's agent. You know, he's like best friends now with Chris Van Vliet. Is that what his name is? And Adam's doing big things in the wrestling space. But yeah, we will have wrestling in some form or another for sure, right? Who's going to Big Popcorn? I know. I said that a couple of days ago when we were playing that. All right, so I've seen some of you. Somebody said 1, somebody said 6.
The second pick will be made by
Who? Sacramento Kings? I'm still saying 4th, but you tell me. You feel different. Victor is awesome for the league, but only playing around 60 games a year. Yeah, very true. Very true. He had a blood clot, right? So there's that. Yeah, it's something to pay attention to. It is, for sure. It's a decent point. I can't argue with that. For those that have been tracking these things, Stephon Diggs found not guilty of assault and strangulation. That has come out. Nick Nurse has left the Sixers to attend his brother's funeral. NFL refs on the verge of agreeing to a new CBA. That is good news. We've talked to Mike Pereira over the last few months about that. The NFL had already started the process of training replacement officials. How about that? So, one of the stories, is there a chance A-Cuffs slides to 5? Look, outside of I was talking with somebody that I really trust. There seems to be a consensus that Devonta is going to go number 1. That seems to be the consensus. After number 1, it gets really interesting. And all of that is largely because of Darren Peterson. It really is. It's because, is he going to, be ready to go? Is he, I guess, does he love the game? Does he have an issue with that? You know what happened with Kansas and him missing games. I think that when I look at Darren Peterson, he has the highest upside out of any prospect in this draft. I really do. And when I mean upside, like if I had to pick based off of raw athleticism and what you've seen on tape, ability to get shots off without, or I shouldn't say without, but be able to get your own shot up in your spots when you want to. You can't really, in my opinion, put anybody else but him at the top of the list when it comes to who could be that quote unquote superstar. And as we get closer and closer to the draft, I'm starting to doubt more and more. I'm starting to lean a little bit more towards Scott Pollard. Is there really a superstar? Maybe. There's going to be all-stars that are drafted 15, 17 later. There's going to be somebody like Max Ryno from the second round, right? You're going to have that. But when I look at Darren Peterson, and we've talked about it with Jerry Reynolds, he's talked about Billy Owens, right? And how Billy Owens didn't really I shouldn't say but basketball wasn't his thing. Right? He didn't have the love for it, the itch for it. And I am not implying this in any shape or form with Darren Peterson. I just think that here's the thing. I'm reading the comments as I'm doing this. We'll get to Vrabel and that take in a second, and Tiger. You're not going to want to miss that. You're really not. I think it's the reason that I'm doing it. It has ties with me too. When we talked about it on the radio, I felt like I wasn't, I didn't feel right after talking about it. So you're going to want to catch that. We'll get to that in about 10 minutes. But I want to wrap this up. This is the first generation of players you're starting to see closer and closer to the prime generation of players that are coming through their first year of college and the NBA draft that have been playing basketball, playing games 5 days a week for, I don't know, if they're 18, for more than 10 years, 12 years of their lives. And I wonder how that is going to affect players going forward, because they have played so much more basketball, not just from a physical side, but from a mental side. And remember, basketball has never been more of a business, and college has been never closer than to the pros than now. So they've got a little bit of money in their pocket. Burnout is a real thing. It absolutely is. And I get that you're looking at a ton of money if you're drafted number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, but you might already have enough money in your pocket and you really might not be able to stand basketball anymore. So your career's a little bit shorter. What if you're one of those guys that's just coming in for the paycheck, even if you're at the top of the draft? Now, I'm not saying that Darren Peterson could have been this. I'm not implying that about any of the players that are in this draft, but I do think it is something to pay attention to. This really is, and think about this. If you have kids that are college age, if you have kids in high school right now, when I was in high school, do I need to play an Uncle Rico drop? Probably. When I was in high school, I played multiple sports. Many of us played multiple sports. Sports are now more specialized at a younger age. You're talking travel tournaments all the time. You're talking training, individual outside of practices with your team, more games than practices in America versus what they do in Europe. So, in a way, these guys have way more tread on their bodies with the specific movements that are relative and normal and repetitive in basketball. So they're going to look at that from a body standpoint, no doubt. But I wonder how they're going to look at that from a mental standpoint. It's a really good question, in my opinion. So we will see. It's different. This is a different age of kid that is coming through. They've been through it much different. All right. Coming in for the paycheck, poster child, Zach LaVine. I disagree. Okay. All right. You want to get into this conversation really quick? Look, if he opts in, can any of you blame him? What would Zach LaVine's number be on the open market? Now, remember, this CBA, think about it. This CBA, very limited. You can have like 1 star, maybe 2 if they're homegrown. Zach LaVine, if you put him in this is not my opinion. I have asked people that I trust, what do you think Zach LaVine's number is? Low 20s. I can't blame Zach LaVine for opting in. I can't. Now, I don't buy the narrative that the Kings are the reason that he's being paid that much because they put an offer sheet in on him when he was with the Bulls. I'm not going to get into all that, but it's a lot of money. And I will remind you of this. Zach LaVine played really well at the start of the season. Very well at the start of the season. I mean, I will tell you this, in my opinion. Zach LaVine, look at how the Kings offense, if we're going to talk Kings, we might as well put some numbers up for you as we talk about them here. But the Kings offense at the end of the season, couple key things that were different. The first key thing was the people that were playing the minutes, they knew they were going to get tick, right? They knew for sure they were going to get tick because there was only 8 or 9 guys dressed. You know what? Why don't we do this? Here's Bobby Marks. I wanted to get to this anyways. This is Bobby Marks. You know we respect Bobby Marks a ton. Vacaville Richie, what's up, man? Just checking in. Happy to see the Kings court back. Appreciate you, Telly. My man, Telly. Prize picks, man, too. Here's Bobby Marks talking about the Kings offseason because I'm going to have to kind of shoot you straight and give you an ugly truth, in my opinion.
No, I just looked this up. So Sacramento this year had 34. It doesn't probably rank in the top 5, but when you look at the years, they had 34 combined. The year they made that year, they were the 3 seed. They had 7 different starting lineups. Kind of who you are and why you're in this position. And I'm not going to, certainly absolve Sacramento as far as where they are roster wise, but when you don't have a healthy roster, you are going to be in a position where you have the 4th worst winning percentage in franchise history, which is saying a lot. You're 22-59 as of Sunday. And you will have, right now you're tied with, I believe, Utah with for 4 or 5. You also have an early second, which is yours, could be the 34th pick, and you have a pick from Charlotte, which is in the 46, right around there, for the Hornets here. So your state of the roster is, you certainly have the injuries history, but you've got work to do. You had no player outside of DeMar DeRozan, Russell Westbrook, Achua, and your 2 rookies play more than 60 games. And Scott Perry said it's not an excuse, but it's a fact and it's true. But this team has got to get younger. And when Anthony Slater of ESPN did that great piece on them, that was a sticking point. And here's why. He finished the season as the 4th oldest team in the NBA. Finishing in the lottery and having the 4th worst winning percentage in franchise history, and also having the 4th oldest team, that ain't a good mix, folks. That's not how you go about doing it. So how do you kind of go about improving that? You will certainly add a lottery pick, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But you have Levine, Sabonis, DeAndre Hunter, and Malik Monk on your roster next season. That will equate to 74% of your salary.
All right. That's what I wanted you to hear. 74% in those 3 players. All right, let's talk about those 3 players. So you could arguably throw in a couple more and we can make the number higher. So Bobby Marks is right. The team needs to get younger, undoubtedly, no doubt about it. But when you look at Sabonis and you look at Zach LaVine, I don't know their exact tenures off the top of my head in the league. I think they're fairly similar, though, off the top. Okay. So Sabonis, very durable for the most part, except this year. We know Zach's history, but Zach, outside of opting for the surgery or having the finger surgery, which if the Kings, and this is just strictly my opinion, if the Kings were in it and they were contending and they were going to be a top 6 seed, I don't know that he has that surgery. I don't know that Domas has that surgery, okay? So we kind of knew what the goal was for this year, but back to this coming year, I don't see any situation in which Zach LaVine and Domantas Sabonis can be on the same roster. Scott Perry's already said he does not believe in going into the luxury tax, which I agree with him, but it's also Captain Obvious to a degree because of what the Kings did this year. You can certainly talk about the injuries. It doesn't take away from the age of this basketball team. And this basketball team played a lot of young guys this year. Think about a Precious Achua, who I don't think, unless something changes drastically, that he's going to be a guy the Kings are going to be able to retain. I think because you have much more leverage over Domantas Sabonis than you do Zach LaVine, I don't see a way in which Domantas Sabonis is on this roster game 1. You know, if I'm the Kings, it's something we're looking at now, and we can ask the question, does Domantas Sabonis even want to be on the roster? It's a fair question. When he came back from injury, there was this standard 1 game that each guy, Keegan Murray had one. You guys can remind me who the other player was, because there were so many injuries this year. But basically, guys coming back from injury, if they were a starter, they didn't start the first game. But what happened with Domas? He didn't start the second game. And then there's like this, just kind of what's going on, right? And then he didn't start the third game back. And then he has the monster game. I believe it was in Memphis. And he starts from there. So if you're Domas, maybe you want to go somewhere else. The two teams that I would be looking at, if I'm Scott Perry, I am looking to re-engage, especially after this was what to me was so important about what the Raptors did. The Raptors, although they got bounced by Cleveland, they were without Quickly and they were without Brandon Ingram. Okay. Quickly, he can play a physical style. Brandon Ingram does not. Okay. But what did that Raptors team show? They showed physicality. Their star, physical as heck. In Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett, who wasn't that guy, but he's kind of starting to be a little bit more physical. Maybe it was just a product of the playoffs and the way the game's being played and the refs putting the whistles in their pockets. If I'm Toronto and I'm their GM, I am 100% seeing how Domantas Sabonis could work into that lineup when you play with a physical lead guard like Scotty Barnes, who's unselfish, Domas being unselfish. So I'm picking up the phone. I'm talking to Toronto. Got to talk to Toronto. And I also think that you need to talk to the Golden State Warriors. I know, I get it. It's a kick in the package because it's right up the road, but you got to think about it. Just my opinion. But again, the brutal reality is I don't see any other way around it. Now, you could trade Monk. And to be fair, is anybody really safe on this roster? Max Ryno is safe. Definitely probably Neat Clifford at this point. Is Keegan Murray safe? I don't think so. I think Scott Perry would entertain trade talks for him. Now, I wouldn't agree with that per se, and I know that's a conversation for another day because that could take up an entire King's Court. So we're not going to get into that one. But DeAndre Hunter, excuse me, probably not moving off of that contract. And I give Scott Perry a lot of credit because anybody that was with us during that time when Scott Perry signed Dennis Schroeder, I was not a fan of it. I did not like it. I didn't think it fit. I thought the Kings overpaid, etc., etc. And maybe call me a little sour because I've been standing at the highest point in Elk Grove yelling for a year and a half, Kobe White! Kobe White! Because it just seems like a perfect fit. And let's be honest, the Hornets didn't have to give up a lot to get Kobe White, but that ship is sailed. Kings signed Schroeder. But what Scott Perry did, and this is not easy for a GM to do, to sit there and introduce Schroeder and say, this is the guy we targeted, this is the guy we wanted, and then 4-5 months later, trade him. That's taking your medicine if you're Scott Perry. So when he traded Dennis Schroeder, now the kicker was Keon Ellis, right? That was what really Cleveland. And look at this is how this worked, in my opinion. I have not talked to Scott about this. But you look at Hunter's contract, you look at Dennis Schroeder's contract. They're very, very similar. But the difference is Hunter's expires 1 year earlier. So in some ways, Scott Perry condensed the Schroeder signing into 2 years instead of 3. So I don't think you're getting off a Hunter. So again, give me somebody come to me. I'm open to your guys' and gals' thoughts. Can there be a team with Domantas Sabonis and Zach LaVine? I just don't think so. And here's the other end of that. If you have, this is that year. This is not that year that you're going to make the playoffs. This is not that year that the team is going to have a miraculous turnaround. Although I do think they should play significantly better than they did last year if they balance the floor out. But this is that year that, in my opinion, Doug Christie has to stick to what really secured his job, which was the work with the young guys, which means you're going to have to play the young guys. And y'all watch the games like me, so holler at me here. My guess is the young guys is what really made the end of the season tolerable. The hustle, the effort. I know for me, it was much better basketball to watch, not perfect by any means, but it was much more entertaining. So this is not a season that Doug Christie can come into and go back to doing what he did at the start of the season and going with the vets and going with the old guys. Scott Perry talked about the work he did with the young guys, which means to me, the young guys are getting the run at the start of the season. So back to Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine has earned the right to start, in my opinion, if he is here in Sacramento on night one, when the Kings open up the 26-27 season. However, if Zach LaVine's not playing well and it's not going well, that is where Coach Christie, the front office, they're going to have to sit him down. That ain't going to taste great, but you're going to have to sit him down, because I think the fan base has said, okay, I'm with another year, Doug Christie, as long as we're seeing the young guys. If you don't see that, I think things could get ugly, really ugly, unless the team is winning a lot of basketball games, which I don't really see how that's going to work if you put out some of the same lineups, just strictly from the floor spacing, the way they use Sabonis. We could go on and on and on and on about it. So give me your thoughts on that. If you feel differently, hit me up. You can call the show. I'll put the link in the chat. If you feel the same, if you have a different idea about the team, holler at me. Don't forget, Grant, back tonight, 7:00, open forum. Make sure you're here. Napes, taking your questions, whatever it may be. That's the thing. That's the beauty of the open forums. Use them. When I say use them, like, you don't have to ask them. Like, don't be chat GBT and like, oh, give me a good Kings question. Grant will kinda
videos. We're
Bobby, what's up with that, man? You're gonna start playing while I'm Bobby, don't interrupt me. That is
You are toxic.
it's toxic behavior, Bobby. What are we doing? But no, give him some whatever you're thinking. Hit him, and he will have the answer for you. Loves travel, loves talking different things. So Grant back tonight. That is going to be 5 days a week, just as we are here on the King's Court. So I've been teasing this story, and let's get to these comments really quick, and then we're going to start talking about what I really want to get into. The only prospect, after seeing how cheap Portland's been with the head coach, I question if the owner's goal is to look. That is a topic for another day. If I am Portland, well, first off, Adam Silver he can't tolerate that. There is a standard when you are an owner, and quite frankly, the other owners should not be tolerating that. The other owners should be calling this guy and giving it to him, because Tiago Splitter, you want to? He's an interim coach. Did you hear the reports that they want to pay? Reportedly, and in fact, I have Sam's article up that he just put out. There is a Portland update. Let me read that to you. Talking about $1 million for a salary for a coach. You can't do that. The Trailblazers, this is per Sam Amick in The Athletic. The Trailblazers, meanwhile, are still in the midst of a messing coaching search that will eventually reach a fascinating conclusion. Will they hire someone at a league low salary in the $1 million to $1.5 million range, as has been widely reported as a strong possibility? Or might they invest more earnestly in somebody like, say, Tiago Splitter, the incumbent interim Trailblazers coach who handled an unprecedented situation with Chauncey Billups masterfully, led Portland to an unexpected playoff berth, and has widespread support in his locker room. Even if the Blazers go with a coach with no previous head coaching experience, it shouldn't be tough to top what is believed to be the lowest head coaching salary in the league. Any guesses? Any guesses? That of Kings Doug Christie. A league source said on Monday, the Trailblazers have cast a net so wide that the list of candidates could be almost 20 coaches long. What are, like, Sam has to be, like, if I'm Sam right now, he has to be sitting here, sorry for the camera shake, just like, I'm not writing this. Am I really writing this? 20 coaches long, and in the end will consist of names procured by both Dundon and general manager Joe Cronin. What's more, league sources say there's no clear messaging as of yet about a possible timeline for hiring. I don't know, maybe sometime before the draft. And while Dundon has pushed back on the notion that he's cutting corners as a matter of what he believes is good business, the proof will be in the paycheck. That is Sam Amick from The Athletic. 20 head coaches. Stop the madness. Like, what are we doing? Stop the madness. Correct. DC is the lowest. I don't know if it's 2 or 2.5. But if Portland hires somebody at 1 or 1.5, look, okay. See, and that's what sucks, right? It's going to get tied back to the Kings, right? Dundon's looking at what the Kings pay. There's another team that's paying 2.5. There's a comp. Like, hiring a coach is similar to buying a house. Unbelievable. I hope they don't drag the Kings into it. They probably will. Sam won't, but some knucklehead looking for clicks will. Kings could waive and stretch Levine over 3 years, and his cost goes from 48 to 16 over the 3 years. So Peter, I don't know a ton about the stretch provision. I'll look at it. I don't know if that's a contract. Okay, if the Kings were like on the edge of competing and it was going to affect getting or taking the next step, maybe. Like, that's what happened with the Bucks. They thought that they were going to, put a contender together, and they let Giannis play GM. And that's why Lillard got stretched. It's kind of a move to me, like a win now move, because you need the money, and the Kings aren't win now per se. So you might just eat it if you can get off Sabonis and get the right deal. Portland scenario sounds like the job market in the rest of the real world. 1 but 100 candidates. What are tell me this? Are the candidates paying for their own background checks? How's that work? Unbelievable. That's just embarrassing. Like, you got to be kidding me. You can't make that stuff up. Like, how is somebody not challenging this?
Challenge.
Coach McCarthy.
Hey, man.
Like, Vivek, call the Portland owner, my man. Do something. It's not good business. Can you imagine screwing up both pissing off the fan base and screwing up the chemistry. Players would riot. Telling you. You need a player in the draft that wants to win a midseason tournament. All right, Jay. You got me. Good job.
I'm disappointed to hear that.
I'm not disappointed. That's funny. I think Sabonis still has many good years. Absolutely. So even though they aren't making the playoffs next year, they will still be good for years. Look, walking trip dub, yeah. And he's got the property. He does. You're not wrong. Carl, what's up, my man? Clifford, Murray, Max, Hunter, Precious starting lineup 2027. You're not gonna. I just don't. Unless you move Sabonis, I don't know how you keep Precious. I've talked to, and Grant asked me this. I think his number, Precious, is probably in the 8 to 12 range. Probably a 2-year, $22 million contract. I just don't think the Kings are going to do it. And you've kind of got a logjam right there as well. As sad as it sounds, I think parting with Monk would be better than Sabonis, Shed, Monk, and DeRozan. Yeah, look, DeMar's contract is partially guaranteed next year. It is still mind-blowing to me. It really is that somebody did not come. You don't think Houston could have used DeMar DeRozan? DeMar was so good this year on so many different levels. Why is Keon buried in the Cavs rotation? I think a lot of it has to do with his ball handling, to be completely honest with you, Andre, because once the game in the playoffs gets to the second half, a lot of teams are coming up to press, which means you don't always have your point guard bringing the ball up. And I just don't think Kenny Atkinson really trusts the ball handling. The defense is there. The shooting's there. He's had big games there. And I think that's a large reason. And probably the playmaking as well, which kind of ties into hand with the ball handling, that he's rode with Dennis Schroeder and maybe some playoff experience too. You know, Dennis, I get that he had 10 in a fourth quarter and really won them a game, but he's hurt them at times this season as well. Your show is my Kings connection. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I appreciate everybody being here, getting more viewership than Grant on X. Should we check? What do we think the X viewership is at? What do y'all say? We are at 198. What's up, everybody? On X. Appreciate y'all for being here. All right, let's transition, by the way, because this is really kind of the main event, the story that I wanted to talk about. In fact, it's a story that's really been bugging me. And it's not just one story, it's two big stories. And somehow they tie together. And I'm going to kind of make that tie for you. So, as we've talked about, it's no secret what happened with Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini. I am not here to open up the can of worms on that story. It is what it is. They are adults. All I will say is the cover-up is worse than the crime. I don't know that Mike Vrabel survives this as head coach of the Patriots, because places are digging and digging and digging. There was another report that came out yesterday from the Daily Mail. So anyways, I'm not rehashing what happened with those two. Diana Rossini couldn't have handled that any worse. And she had a PR firm, allegedly. But what was the other big story? So anybody guess what the other big story has been this autumn, springtime, whatever you want to call it, because I think this is in the top 2. I know to me what number 1 is. I'll wait. Anybody got it? Let's see. X, y'all know? What is it? What is, to me, the biggest story that has happened this spring? Anybody? Going once, going twice. Undoubtedly, it's Tiger Woods, right? How could it not be Tiger Woods? And you look at the differences. You know, I think Athena, don't be
You
toxic.
are toxic.
Don't be toxic, Athena. We're not getting back into it. I'm talking about Tiger Woods now. Okay. Tiger Woods, and I appreciate you, Athena. Carl put in a guest live, kind of. So, Tiger Woods, right? And so Grant and I had this. Athena, I respect. No, don't leave me, Athena. I respect your opinion. Don't leave me alone. I'm asking for your patience here because I think you're going to get something out of it. There's a bigger thing here. Okay. So hang with me because we're on to Tiger. All right. We're not going to talk about the couple anymore. So Tiger Woods, what was everybody's first reaction when this happened? Just curious. I think the first reaction for many people was, is he okay? Did he die? Another one, right? And then it started to, was he impaired? Once you knew he was okay, like you kind of knew in your gut based off of what's happened. At least I knew in my gut that something wasn't right with Tiger. And looking at Tiger as he was playing in the TGF, loaded, right? Ooh, we went off screen for a second. Face a little bit bloated. You're thinking, okay, well, what's this mean? Tiger says we're going to handle it privately. I'm not going to hire a driver. Well, if you've had multiple run-ins, and I don't know the laws, I don't know what states his DUIs were, etc., right? And he has not been found guilty of this yet. In fact, I actually think it's highly likely that it's going to be pleaded down and thrown out. But he says he's not going to hire a driver. Well, why wouldn't you want to hire a driver? Okay. And at this point, what was a lot of the talk about? A lot of the talk was Tiger needs help. Okay. And those talking about it were people that had experience dealing with something like that. They knew somebody that dealt with something like that. You knew something was off. It doesn't take a mathematician to add up the number of surgeries that Tiger has had, his past issues that he has talked about when it comes to, or at least have come out about dependence on prescription medications. Everybody was then thinking, well, Tiger needs help. Like, Tiger needs to get some help, right? And he wasn't going to get it. And people are concerned. I'm not a dummy. You know, everybody's dealing with something. He's dealing with it on a much different level because of the level of celebrity that he is. So much so that the guy is Teflon. He is. And I think part of that is because he's one of those people that there's only a handful in my lifetime that I have been a part of the back end of their lives, but not the beginning of their lives. But if you look at the baby boomers, right? I'm going to throw one out. Michael Jackson, right? They saw Michael grow all the way up, become an adult, and regardless of what you thought about him, his music, allegations, whatever, everybody knew Michael Jackson. He broke the internet when he died. Tiger is on that short list. It's on the Johnny Carson show, right? And he had done so many amazing things. Tell me a different day of golf, anywhere online, anywhere in the history of golf that elicits the reaction that many people get. I know I got what I think is the best reaction ever in golf when Tiger won the Masters in 2019 and Charlie runs up and gives him a hug, right? Like that was magic. So some people just go to a different level. So there's like this different level of care. It feels like they're a family member. It feels like you know them. So everybody's giving their opinion about Tiger. And what happens? Which, by the way, is completely opposite of what's going on with the other story. Everybody's ready to bury them and throw them to wherever. They're looking for the next picture. They're still trying to report on it, okay? But then the affidavit comes out, and Tiger Woods had a loose hydrocodone pill in his pocket. Guess what? That was game over for Tiger. There was no more denying it. It was public. Hopefully, it's the best thing that could ever happen to him, right? What's he do? Goes to treatment. He's in treatment right now. As far as I know, Switzerland. He's seeking help. And although a lot of people, AI, I know I sure as heck laughed at the AI video of him pulling up to the Masters. Don't act like you didn't see it. It was funny. Sometimes AI hits a home run, right? He was getting help, and there was like a relief there. You knew he was getting help, right? And again, I go back to the fact that I know I can't be the only person that had that feeling. Am I a doctor? No. Am I a counselor? No. But guess what? I go to counseling regularly, right? Like, there's people that have taken a step to really put mental health on a different level, to bring it to the forefront and say it's okay. To say, you know what? I did have this addiction, or I have this addiction, and I want to tell you because it could help one person out there that might be watching, okay? So when Tiger goes to get treatment, it's kind of a relief, right? He's doing the right thing. Well, what do the Patriots do? Here's what the Patriots do with the situation. What do? They use mental health as a shield, literally as a human shield. So if you're somebody that doesn't go to counseling, that, is good, and I hope you are, great. Awesome. If you're not, you were probably offended by what the Patriots did, because not only was coach announcing that he was going to counseling, he was going to do it now affecting football operations on the third day of the draft. And he was going to be gone all day, right? Counseling had to happen on Sunday. Interesting. Well, usually counseling is like a 1 hour thing, maybe, you know what? Maybe Coach Rabel is going into the basement for a minute, right? That's what I'm thinking. Nah, reports are there that Vrabes joining the team, part of the draft, via phone or via Zoom, whatever. And guess what you see? Guess what you see? You see a picture of Mike Vrabel walking in to the stadium, walking into the office on Monday morning, like nothing's happened, which is fine. It's his business, but don't announce it to us. Don't say, I'm going to counseling and announce it literally while the commissioner is on stage getting ready to open the NFL draft. They used mental health literally as a PR tool. 100%. No other way to put it. So I look at Tiger's situation. I look at how the public handled that. I look at how Tiger handled that. I look at what the Patriots did, and it turns my stomach. You know who it turns my stomach for? Why don't we start here? What about DeMar DeRozan? Above the Noise. His book that he wrote almost 2 years ago, talking about his struggles in the past and his ongoing struggles with depression. You know what? That offends me for DeMar DeRozan. For somebody who's putting their story out there publicly to hopefully help others and is really doing the stuff behind it. His book talks about how it's an ongoing thing, right? Somebody that really was, in many ways, him, Ryan Anderson from the Pelicans, from Sacramento area, were part of that first group of guys in the NBA to step up and say, look, I'm not right upstairs. Just not, right? So, like, if you're DeMar DeRozan, what are you thinking about that? Maybe you don't care. Maybe it's no big deal. I think it's gross. I think it's awful. Okay, so there's DeMar DeRozan. What about Drapes? Kyle Draper, formerly of the Kings broadcast team. I know Kyle Draper's mental health. I know his wellness is very important to him. So important to him that he shared it publicly. He'll be celebrating. He has celebrated, I believe now, either his 7th or 8th. Anyways, at the time of this article that was posted in The Athletic a couple of seasons ago, Kyle chronicled his issues with alcohol. In fact, let me read you a quote from the article. Quote, I have not been able to find something that gives me the high of hanging with the boys in the bars, drinking, laughing. Quote, Draper said, it's a challenge, comma, even 7 years in. Quote, it's hard as an alcoholic, as an addict. You just keep trying to find something that could replace that high for drinking. I haven't figured that out yet, to be honest with you. I respect the hell out of Kyle Draper for coming forward and telling his story and promoting mental health, promoting, helping, using his story to maybe help one other person. Because if it helps somebody else, then it's all worth it. He didn't have to do that. How many of you would do that these days? Right? You know what else I think of? Sean Salisbury. What about Sean freaking Salisbury, who's been so incredible to this channel, to our programming? What about Sean Salisbury's transparent stories about his low points, about being in a hotel, finishing a divorce, not having a place to live, living in his car, driving on Christmas Day, seeing somebody on the side of the road looking for help, gives him $100 bill, drives down the road, makes a U-turn, picks him up, and ends up taking him in. I'm talking about Russell. And got him back on his feet. These are public people that I respect. DeMar DeRozan, Sean Salisbury, Kyle Draper, that don't throw this stuff around lightly. And I made this known at the time. But you know what really bugged me? It was something that I just couldn't shake. I'm like, I got to say something. I don't like this. So I talked to Sean Salisbury about it. You know who else it pissed me off for? It pissed me off for me. Yeah, you heard me right. It pissed me off for me. I battled an addiction with opiates in 2017. Excuse me, 2015. I know how serious I take my mental health. I know how serious I take my wellness. And all these people have shared their story, yet I hadn't shared mine. So if my story can help one of you, awesome. Have not taken one since. So when you see people like Mike Vrabel who use, seriously, mental health and anything in that realm as a PR stunt, it's offensive. It's bullshit. It ain't cool. And it's really interesting that the two sides of these two stories have not been tied together. And I am so proud of Sean, who continues to share his story for no other reason than to help other people. Let them know it's okay. Same thing with DeMar DeRozan. Same thing with Kyle Draper. And it should be the same way with me. So I'm right there with him. It's BS. It's offensive what Robert Kraft and that organization did. To any of you who have dealt with those things, you know. So, that being said, that was something that I needed to get off my chest. That will be the last, unless, I mean, I really don't want to talk about Vrabes. I don't. But this thing keeps going downhill. We will try to keep it off the show. We will. We will try to keep it off the show. But for people like Sean that every day battle, keep battling. People like me, battle. DeMar DeRozan, battle. Kyle Draper, battle. Mike Vrabel, bullshit. Do better. Do better. We see through you. Anybody that takes that seriously, we see through you. Okay? Good enough. Point taken. What's up with all you? Appreciate Sean. Love Sean. The beautiful chicken. WWE Raw was disappointing. I have not finished it, beautiful chicken. Stand up for mental health. Absolutely. No doubt. Daniel, Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? That's why, and been clean ever since. Got treated, coined out, and that is a mainstay. Wellness, you got to be right. Jason talking about a medication until, yeah, I don't know, um, really what that is per se. I know what that is, but I don't know what's going on with that. I do know that there are a lot of doctors that have indirectly started problems but don't want to fix problems when it comes to medications. And unfortunately, that is filtered down to the elderly as well. Um, Very brave to share. Appreciate it. Mental health. Thank you though very much. Mental health is no joke. It's a bitch, but life can be fun. If delicious and beautiful in the journey of life, no doubt about it. No doubt. Pacifica was amazing. We'll hit it tomorrow for sure. Let's see. Charlie Woods. I think he'll be on the tour sometime. And so I know Carmichael Dave does this, and I think it's actually a really cool thing to do. So my DMs are open. You're struggling, just like Grant says, you can hit me up. So it's something to me that is very, very important. And I think most people do not take lightly. But for some others, there's other things that are important, like the Patriots and the way they handled that. Let's see. Ryan, did you see the Robin Williams documentary? No, I did not. Dude, have they ever? You're spot on. Really bad. Really, really bad. By the way, I should throw Kevin John's name into that as well from ABC 10. 100% Kevin John too. That whole thing, I'm offended for people like Kevin John who come forward and advocate for that stuff. So, yeah, not cool. Jason, forced off of medication, had massive insomnia, withdrawals, and psychosis, end up in mental hospital after successful career, now in assisted living and cannot function. I'm sorry to hear that, brother. I'm sorry. Dude, another day above the dirt is a good day. 10 toes down, my man. Hope everything works out for you. Feel free to reach out, Jason. I've seen you put that in some of the chats before. Not to that tune, but I got you. I like how I can see what we have looked at. Jeff, or Lifestyle says, alcohol is a beast. I had to get comfortable being bored. Still crave it after many years. See, exactly. This was... Look, and maybe I did not explain it as well as I could have, but it's people like you, Lifestyle, and the people we talked about. I know I threw Kevin John and then at the end there that take it seriously. And those, to me, that's unconscionable. Like, it's not cool, especially at that level. To use it as a dismissal, to think people are stupid, it's insulting your intelligence. That's what it is. Appreciate you saying that. Let's see. Heard what happened. Yeah, but we're still here. I want DeMar's book. I might have a copy for you. Hit us up. Mental health is a real thing. Didn't realize it until a close family member had a significant bipolar episode that almost ended their life and almost wrecked our family. Thank God she got help. Yep. You all know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. Let's see. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Patrick, here we go again. You guys saw the story. There's nothing wrong with the reactions. Everything is fine, and everybody is not the same. Tiger Woods again is in those handful. Like if we had to put that Mount Rushmore together, right? And I really don't want to do this per se because I don't want to put stuff in the ether. But do you get what I'm saying? Like if we had to put a Mount Rushmore together of if there was news about an individual, whether it be in sport or life, that if something happened, what would happen, right? Like the internet would stop. You would stop to see what happened. And Tiger's one of them, right? And I could feel, I really could. I mean, there was anger, there still is, and there should be. There needs to be consequences for your behavior. I get that. You're an adult. Something that's happened over and over again, but there was a lot of anger, which I think came from a lot of concern for him, and he did the right thing. He got help. People are still angry at him. He's got to deal with stuff, but he's getting help. He's not going to endanger somebody else on the road and endanger himself, hopefully. But, that's why you don't, serious stuff, man. You don't just throw that around. You don't. I'm sorry. We're in that day and age, and I'm not that guy that gets offended by every little thing. I'm not that dude. But you hit me in a certain spot, I'm going to punch back. Not just for me, but for the others, again, that are doing very, very good work. Very good work in that field. So let's see, Ryan, I think you should take a mental health test or survey before a season in sports start. That's just me, everyone. Hey, look, they're doing great things. I think there is a lot of good advancements. There's a lot of players that are talking to sports psychiatrists that are visualizing, doing all the mental exercises. I think that there is, you know what? That's a great point. I mean, how unsavory, okay? It is really a good point. I don't have a problem with Belichick, right? Look, go do your thing. If you want to do your thing, that's not my business. It's not, okay? Now, trying to, what you have to deal with the pub from that. If you're going to date somebody that's half your age, right? Okay, whatever. So keep that to the side. But you talk about Deflategate. To me, whatever. You talk about the whole Spygate, right? They've got all these gates. Okay, football stuff. It shows a what do you want to say? It shows a lot. Shows a culture. It shows that all right. And I know they say you're not cheating unless you're trying, but that's a little bit to the extreme. You have two of those situations, and you're spot on, chicken. What about Aaron Hernandez in that situation? And what happens is you look at these other smaller situations because you give an organization the benefit of the doubt right off the bat that they didn't know that was going on. But if you look at the Patriots' resume, not to mention Robert Kraft, Orchids of Asia, my man. You look at the Patriots' resume, it's hard not to second guess. Did they know what was going on with Hernandez? No doubt. All about winning for some. Very interesting. So, anyways, I'm looking forward to being back tomorrow. I'm thankful for everybody. We're not going there yet. I'm thankful for everybody that came out today. We're just getting started here on If You Don't Like That. We've got a lot of stuff coming your way. We will have some great guests. If you're just joining us now, check out the start of the show. Made an announcement that Jerry Reynolds will be part of the King's Court again here in the off season. We are going to pick a day, and he will come on weekly with us. The other announcement that I'm going to make, and some of you can be like, I don't care. Like, don't. Why would I want that? But some of you might. We are going to give away. I'm going to figure out how we're going to do it. But if you notice, different place, different studio, the original King's Court banner, we're going to give that away, and it's going to be signed by Jerry Reynolds. So stay tuned for the details on that. Looking forward to it. So yeah, if you want the original King's Court banner signed by Jerry Reynolds, stay tuned. We'll let you know how you can get it. Grant, back tonight, 7 o'clock. Come show him some love as we ramp up on the channel and give you your daily dose of madness content, whatever it might be. I had grievances. I didn't get to them. If you're new, we'll tell you what grievances are tomorrow. More NBA draft that I want to get into. I also want to listen to the rest of Bobby Marks tomorrow and talk about the Kings, his offseason guide for them. And then I've got some general observations as well that I made throughout the season. And yeah, we've got some fun stuff coming ahead. And then whatever's topical, whatever's going on in the news, we will hit. Don't forget, you've got NBA action tonight. By the way, on the way out the door, I got to ask you this because I meant to ask you earlier in the day. How do you feel about these overlapping games? Is it a big deal to you, or are you okay with it? Just curious. It's a little bit weird. I'm good with the NCAA tournament because that's like you're habituated to it. You're watching multiple games at once. Some people love it. Some people hate it with the NBA, but they are overlapping again tonight, just briefly. But you've got the Cavaliers and the Pistons underway, 25-15. Detroit lead. Wow. Cleveland, Detroit. Two great cities, 2 hours apart. Damn. I bet you Riverside and Bakersfield are enjoying those games. Fresno, Bakersfield, Cleveland, and Detroit. How about that? Lakers, Thunder as well. Look at the spread on the Lakers, Thunder. Where are you going on that one? We will see. But a lot to discuss. But before then, tomorrow, we've got Grant back tonight. Make sure you join him. A big thanks to each and every single one of you showing out on day 1 of the King's Court return. Looking forward to being back 3 p.m. tomorrow. Before that, Nate, 7 o'clock, open forum. Be back with you. Get a little break. Watch some basketball. Join Grant in a couple hours. Have a great day. Appreciate y'all. Court is dismissed.
Now, see, this guy knows basketball.
Holy moly, Jim Buff Bowie.